Mood is the holy grail of productivity. It's not your ability to focus, it's not your ability to work hard or be driven or enthusiastic or organized. It's not self-control or discipline or even motivation. All of those things are just outcomes, and they come from mood. When I first heard about my inability to focus sometimes being related to mood, I had no idea what they were talking about. I thought that they were just talking about me being sad and reliving some childhood trauma or thinking about what some guy said to me 5 days ago, and that's taking up my headspace. That's the problem with how we understand mood. There's good mood and then there's bad mood.
You seem to be in a bad mood.
That's not the case though. You can have many different moods and they're not clearly classifiable as good or bad. You can be happy, you can be sad, that seems pretty clear. But if you're enthusiastic, that seems good, but you can be too enthusiastic about something and then you cannot focus on something else that you should be doing right now. You can be relaxed, which may be bad for focus, but you can also be too tense and hyper-focused when you need to connect some dots and be creative. You can be angry and that makes you want to change everything that you don't like, but you're hyper-focusing on what's wrong and want to turn everything upside down. But that doesn't necessarily mean that all your ideas are going to be the best thing to do right now. You can be content and just doing your job, but that may not be enough to make a serious change. You can be hyper-focused on details and making everything perfect, but you don't focus on what's important. And that's also a good point. A lot of moods are described as tendencies, but they're very closely tied to moods. For example, being a little OCD at a moment is just being in a mood to do OCD type stuff. There's being in the mood to organize everything and be segmented, but also being in the mood to throw everything around and just get it done and be done with it. For example, if you buy something from IKEA, you may be in the mood to take everything out of the box and sort it, but you also may be in the mood to just go with the flow. Throw everything on the floor and assemble it before you forget where you put something. You can be in the mood to think about things from a big picture perspective, or in the mood to just do what's right in front of you. And importantly, it's not like you know that this is how it should be done. You need to be organized, but you don't feel like it. The best course of action is probably actually to follow your mood, because then you have a good idea of how you want to do things, and you can follow your intuition instead of a vague idea that you should be organized, but you don't know how you're going to go about doing it in detail. Everyone wants something that will be just an improvement. They're not interested in different, they're only interested in better. In reality though, there's barely anything like that. Nearly all nootropics are just mood changers. Caffeine makes you more aroused, theanine makes you calmer, other supplements just make you feel nice and content. Some of them may have a clear positive impact on your productivity, but that's not because they just make things better. It's because they put you in a different state that turns out to be better. And maybe even you wouldn't have been able to reach that state without the substance, but the point still is that it's better because it's different, not despite that. You wouldn't have been able to create a substance like Adderall, but one that does not affect your mood, because that's the whole point. The thing is, it's not about improving what you already have, it's about changing what you have intelligently to work better together. You're not going to make a significantly better meal just by getting better ingredients, unless your ingredients actually suck. It's all about carefully choosing your ingredients and amounts and finding a better way to put them together to make something better out of the same. Think of a well-balanced first-person shooter where you can choose different weapons and modify them. You can choose something that increases accuracy but decreases stability. You can choose something that has high damage but low fire rate, etc. You need to find something that, when put together, makes the most sense and fits your playstyle best. When you evaluate these attachments on their own, it seems like the positives and negatives add up to zero actual improvement. But put together, you can have a setup that is clearly superior to another one. It's about how it all works together as a system. And this idea of mood relates to my other videos, Positivity for Productivity and Psychoanalysis for Productivity. When you're in the mood to catastrophize things, when you encounter a problem that you don't know the solution to, you're going to procrastinate because you're hyper-focusing on finding the solution and you can't. Whereas if you are in a more exploratory mood, calmer, more positive, not hyper-focusing on finding the solution, you will be able to think more creatively and will revel in thinking about the problem instead of finding the solution in the most efficient manner possible. Maybe that's just me, but it seems to me like most good scientists are not sigma males driven by success. They're kind of lazy, they play video games, they think about weird things that no one cares about, and then they come up with an idea that ends up revolutionizing the whole world. They're not trying to find the next big thing. They're just observing something that piques their interest, do some work to find out more about it, and if they're good enough, the odds are in their favor and a lot of their time wasting turns into good idea. It's like how people say that sometimes hyper-focusing on your goal actually makes you less likely to reach it. And finally, I want to touch on how you can change your mood. I've talked about substances, but it's more that they put you in a state that is conducive to a certain mood, not immediately put you in one. Caffeine can make you excited but also anxious. There is this idea that your mood is just what you are given, you cannot change it. That's a bit simplistic. You cannot change it directly, but can you move your hand directly? Not really. You can only send a signal to your hand for it to move, or something like that. But if you're paralyzed, it won't move. But we all accept that we can move our hands directly because it's just so easy. Mood is similar. There's this video of Chuck Vogelphol psyching up before a squat at the Arnolds.
What do you say now, Chuck? Come on, Chuck.
Come on, we're up.
And in his mind, he's probably not tensing all his muscles, breathing heavily, etc. He's probably just psyching up. He just learned to get in that state by just thinking about it, and everything that needs to happen happens. People hate when you tell them to chill out, but that's more because it's not appropriate to the situation that they're in, the way they see it. Chill out before a test, you're not going to learn anything now. No, I'm going through all the slides like never before, and I might not learn it deeply, but I will remember some of it and I will use it on the test. And I can tell you from experience, it does work. But just chilling out is possible.
If I wanted my blood pressure to be low, I would simply command my body to make it low.
Yes, it's more about sitting comfortably and breathing deeply, and actually one of the things that I'm known for in the office is reclining in a chair and putting my feet on the desk. But there's more implicit things that you can't put your finger on, that you just do when you know how to get into that state. Being in a calm state of mind helps in very many situations. I will have another video about that. But the main point of this video is that your mood informs your actions. And a lot of the problems that prevent you from being productive, primarily procrastinating because you're not moving towards your goal, or because it's not fun, or you just don't feel like you have control or can make a difference. Things that I talk about in the Psychoanalysis for Productivity video just don't pop up when you're in the certain mood. Being in a calm state of mind helps in very many situations. I will have another video about that. But the main point of this video is that your mood informs your actions. And a lot of problems that prevent you from being productive, primarily procrastinating because you're not moving towards your goal, or because it's not fun, or you just don't feel like you have control or can make a difference. Things that I talk about in the psychoanalysis for productivity video just don't pop up when you're in a certain mood. So the key is to be in the right mood for the job. Again, it's not always obvious what that mood is, but it should always be oriented towards making progress, not getting the outcome. I know that this video is more theoretical in nature and may not seem that useful, but it's a conversation starter, and I think the more practical video is positivity for productivity. I will be making more short and practical videos, so if there are any tips that come to my mind, I will make a short video about it. And still, I think this video can change your outlook on things massively. Mood is just very much subject to change, so I think at least knowing that one day you're more productive and the other not so much is basically down to you are feeling like doing that stuff. And I think that's huge, and we can learn a lot from just that and finding out what mood creates this outcome. That's all. See you in the next one.